What's up, boys and girls? Lambo here, and today I will show you guys another tournament analysis video, but this one will be a little bit special because it's going to be one of my own games. It will be a game that I played about an hour ago. So I played this tournament called the Three-Winged Angel, hosted by Crate and Olsen. And in the quarterfinals I played against my good friend Piotr Walukiewicz, aka Soul. And Soul has a very special playstyle. The moment anything goes wrong in his game, he stops attacking and he starts camping and sitting there. So I have a special style that I play against Piotr. And I know a lot of you struggle with Terran players that just don't attack in general, so I wanted to show you guys how you can defeat Terran players that play passive with bio. A nice style that you can try as well. It will be basically going very heavy on the Mutas. I will just rush over the early game real quick, because I played super standard. The replay will be in the description below, so if you guys want to copy the early game. I played the late clash opener where I make the overlord and the drone before the hatchery, but the hatchery is still before speed, right as the Reaper arrives pretty much. I have a bunch of different ZVT openers and I'm also going to make guides on them. In this game my opponent went for a 3cc Banshee. I will second overlord and scout that. It is in fact 3cc Banshee. Upon scouting, I will throw on a lair. And my plan all along was to go Lingman Muta against him every game. I took the forward base on Romanticide because it enables me to spread creep a lot better. The Hellions have less space to move around. So the moment my queens are here, now the Hellions need to go all the way around this to start attacking creep again, and all of this space right here is free creep spread right now. And while I'm still seeing the Hellions here, this is also free creep timber. He cannot deny this. This is why this base is so much better than the other one. Also, it allows me to destroy these rocks, which destroying these rocks makes defending a lot easier later on against tank timings. I get a billingness in time for one of these very delayed halberd pushes, which they sometimes do. Always make sure to move your queens in time against the Hellions and have your Zerglings in a line like this. So if the Hellions try to run by, the Zerglings will survive a bunch of shots to hold them in position for the queens. That's basically what the Zerglings are here for. I'm morphing a couple of Banes just in case. This is Hellbats. Good overlord spread. If you look at my vision, I see around my base. I actually am missing one overlord right here. And I morph two overseers. And what I actually do against Banshee, what I'd like to do is make an extra queen in the main, so I have, whoops, two queens and an overseer in the main, one queen with natural, one spore per base. And then I have one overseer with the frontal queen group and one with the queens at the back, so I shouldn't lose that many drones. I was a little bit bad here with the queen movement, so I lost 7, but this is after I'm already at 66 workers, so losing these drones is basically the same as just losing 2 Zerglings for each drone, so it's really not a big deal if you lose drones this late into the game. And now he ends up losing these Banshees as well. Yep. Okay, so I went up to 76 drones. I lost about, I knew I lost about maybe 6-7 drones. I ended up losing 9 drones, so usually if I'm playing against a Terran that plays with 3cc, he opens with 8 Hellions and makes 2 starport units, and I have a perfect early game, I can go up to 80 drones. Easy and defend everything. Easy. So this game I took my gases relatively early because I wanted to go Muta, so I stayed on 76, also because I lost a couple of workers, right? We have an early baning speed, so I can just engage this. We have more than enough. You don't A-move this, you go for a surround to force him to pick off and then kill the units that are a little bit left behind. And now we're starting Muta production. And what will happen very often on Romanticide is that they're gonna go for a tank push. And so what you want to do against tank pushes in general, and this is very important, is part of your army should always be counterattacking and checking if he has enough. So if I went straight in here without killing the depot, I think he actually would have been in trouble. But I could not have known that, so now I go up and check probably. Or I just make sure that he doesn't reinforce, it's also fine, and I will just go for a surround. Also an option. What I wanted to say is you check if he has a bunch of stuff at home. At this point I figured he would have a bunch of stuff at home, so I didn't even go up there, because I took my sweet time with this depot. But then, since I'm seeing that he's not reinforcing this, I'm like, okay, well now I can just engage, right? So I tank with the queens. This is also something you guys should do. He realizes that I want to go for an engagement, so he brings the reinforcements and I just go for the full-on fight. And because this was a decent fight and because my macro was good, we managed to push him back. And this is a situation that, first of all, you need to get into usually to make the Terran go passive, because now we're ahead. So now that we're ahead, I'm gonna speed through a little bit of this game. You should obviously get a hive and to continue your upgrades. And now usually, one thing that will help you guys, this is not part of the style yet, this is just standard. First of all, I continue my Muta upgrades. I have my Spire hotkeyed with my Mutas. But this is my hotkey, this is why this says 16. Because it's 15 Mutas on the Spire. So, and right before my +1 is done, or even if my +1 is halfway done, I already start my +1 carapace to consistently start these upgrades on time. +1, all the carapace upgrades for Mutas are better in direct fights, which shouldn't really happen that much, so usually attack upgrades are priority, but if you are bad at remembering them, queuing them up will be better for you, so that's a little bit of a tip. And now what should we do if our opponent just stays defensive? First of all, out-expand him. So make sure to out-expand him. We're at 88 workers, I could go a little bit higher, you see me making 3 extra workers, but I should be taking these bases very soon. And then the second step is you can split up your army. And what you should do with Lingbane Muta is you have 2 parts of your ground army. So you have your ground army. Let's say I have 40 Zerglings. Wait, we can see it here. I have 60 Zerglings and 18 Banelings. So that is my one hotkey. Then I select like this amount, right? If I want to go for a counterattack, this can be bigger or smaller depending on how you want to attack. And then I press Alt 3. So you can see in my hotkeys that I have this army, this is my main army, plus my reinforcements. On 1, with their own overseer. Then I have the Mutas on 2, which also should have an overseer, but he went tank, so he didn't actually have that many Muta mines yet. So it's not that bad. I also don't have overlord speed yet. And then on 3 is this run by squad. And now the best way for you is to think while nothing is happening, how do I want to attack right now? I think one of the easiest ways is you go to the main base with the Mutas, and on most maps the third base is under the main base. So then you check with your main army where his main army is, but that step doesn't necessarily need to be. It doesn't necessarily be to be in this order, and you can also be creative. You can also try to fly in here with the Mutas to force the army here, and then you run in with the run by. But basically, your Mutas can force his army somewhere else. Let's say here, or they could even fly in from back here. And then, as that happens, you start moving in with the run by, because that's usually when the Terrans also don't look and when they're out of position. And then while that's going on, if you have time to do something else, you can check with the main army. If you can fight maybe a planetary with the main army. The run by can also be the one that clears the planetary, and this could be your main army. There's so many different things that you can do, so many different attack paths on different maps, which this is the thing that usually breaks the Terran players. So Sol is a very good defensive player, so he's in position for this. And I could have gone for this, honestly, but I thought he would be in position for this one as well, because he had a sensor tower here. Little did I know he just didn't look at the minimap and he just 1-8 everything there. So now I'm forced to go back a little bit with the Mutas. Oh, he's also dropping me here. So he's not just AFK, right? He's also multitasking. This is obviously a lot easier if your opponent isn't doing anything on your side of the map. So we're at 90 drones. I think you should be at least at 90 drones with this style as well, especially if your opponent is just staying in his base. Going to a high drone count is very, very important. And now I do the exact same move again. I go to the main base with the Mutas this time. I force a Thor here. I focus fire the medevac. I focus fire down the Thor. At the same time, I went in here, blew up some depots. I noticed that there are a bunch of mines that I activated, so I want to go here and focus fire them, but he's well fortified. And also one priority that I think you guys should always target are sensor towers against campy Terrans, because this is what allows them to pre-split their army well and react. You can see now again he's out of position in the main base, and this is really the strength of this Lingbane Muta style, is that you can always fish for mistakes. You can see where your opposing army is, and then you can go back if you think he has too much army in one place. And if I see this sort of army all here, then you know what? This base right now is undefended. Sadly, this was out of position. This should have gone in here, and it should have killed the planetary if I was playing perfect. So I could have killed an orbital and the planetary, and then the game would have been pretty much over. But the way it is now, it's also fine. This is also because I saw counter drops going on, right? So, as I said before, if the Terran doesn't do anything on your side of the map, it's even easier. But if he does something on your side of the map, you also need to defensively multitask. Offensively, multitasking is always easier than defensively. And now I am getting the Ultra upgrade just in case he doesn't have any Marauders, but I don't actually plan on getting Ultras. And what you can see here is the part that I do different against Sol than I would against other Terran players. I go up to 30 plus Mutas, between 30 and 40. And don't be shy of having too many Mutas, because our entire game plan is to mostly base trade. So if your opponent moves out, this is also why you can't do this on every map, by the way. You can't do this on maps where you can't easily sack one side of the map and then go migrate your workers to another. So if your opponent just decides to attack, you counterattack with the Mutas, preferably kill bases, but if he moves out with everything, you can just camp his production. And then eventually clear his army with banelings at home and always run away with the workers. And we're gonna see that a little bit later. But this sort of amount of Mutas is very, very hard for the Terran to deal with. We see he keeps making Thors as well, so he has 4 Thors, and he brings them with the Medevacs, which most of your opponents probably won't do. Here he flies around with Thors again. He has a lot of sensor towers, as you can see. Now I saw he was a little bit out of position here, and I'm just fishing for mistakes again. Also, if your Mutas are behind enemy lines, actually I'm going to talk about it later when this actually happens, although it already did happen, but whatever. So now that I know, I saw he had a bunch of army here. Actually, I saw this part of the army here. That's why I decided to engage here. So basically you take a look at what your opponent has and then you decide to engage. And so far we're trading okay. Only having lost 6k less resources is good for Zerg. And our army value right now is way more expensive than his because we're super Muta heavy. We have 36 Mutas. What I wanted to say, and this showed a lot earlier when my Mutas were around here, but I didn't highlight it, was if you have Mutas, let's say you have 16 Mutas and you already want to harass, and then you're making more Mutas, these extra Mutas should go to your reinforcement hotkey. Very, very important. So the Mutas don't fly through all of this. Like, what if your Mutas are in the main, and then you know, you're as a Zerg, you should always hotkey your eggs or cocoons or whatever you want to call them, your larvae. But you don't want to hotkey them to the Mutas that are harassing. You want to hotkey them to your main army control group. I'm actually going to go back a little bit to show this. We're going to come back here in just a second. Don't worry about it. Let's see if I'm harassing and remaking Mutas. This might already be after. Yeah, right now I'm not remaking any Mutas. So now this Muta is... You see where it's rallied? It's rallied to the main army. I know this wasn't as impressive as I thought it was, because for a while I was playing with 2 different Muta control groups in this game. I'm not sure when exactly it happened anymore. But basically your reinforcing Mutas should go with your main army control group so they don't fly over this stuff. And as I said before, this army actually should have killed this base, so this was probably the worst moment to go back to anyways. I'm going for a Hydrodon here. You can potentially go into Lurkers. If you play this base trade style, it's very nice if you have a couple of Lurkers, because then they literally can't kill you. So if you're afraid that you have too little supply and actual ground units, Lurkers can be solving that for you. And we also continue the air upgrades. We have +2, +1 carapace now. +3 should be started already. It is gonna start soon. And yeah, every time you're in here, you basically just need to decide what you're gonna pick off and which direction you're gonna go. Just make sure that you don't get your Mutas trapped. Pretty much the only thing. And if you get your Mutas trapped, try to save them with the Ling Bane Force, attacking and engaging together with the Mutas. So this is a lot of just knowing when I can fight the Thors and stuff, and when I can't fight, and when I can fight Marines and when I can't. Okay, now we see it, I make 10 Mutas. These will all go into my main army control group. And your main focus is just on microing these Mutas. I can guarantee you that I'm not spreading any creep tumors right now. For already the last minute. That's not because I'm bad. That's not because I'm not Cyril. Silent Drainer also wouldn't spread their creep tumors right now, because it's just more important to look at your Mutas. They're getting the damage done, and it's very important to not make mistakes with this. So if you think, man, I can't inject and creep spread while harassing with all these Mutas and maybe different run-bys and dealing with these jobs, it doesn't matter that much. These Mutas are getting you insane value if you can control them, so you should go ahead and control them. This was a magic box, so killing a Thor without any damage being taken. And while this is going on, we're obviously re-expanding, right? Also, you need 10 Mutas to one-shot a mine, so you don't actually need to worry about one-shotting mines here at all with this style. But if there is 2 mines next to each other, please do not try to select 10 different Mutas on two hotkeys and then one-shot both of them. You can actually kill 2 mines that are right next to each other with the Mutas without getting shot if you kill the first one and then click back right away. But if you really just want to clear some mines, just send an Overseer forward or send a single Muta. That's not that bad. Or even just tank it with the outside of the Mutas. If that is what's stopping you, right? If there's only a couple of mines here, just sacrifice a Muta. It will enable you an entire new route to take for the Mutas. And here again, we're finding a Thor. At the same time this is going on. You can see here, these are the reinforcing Mutas with the main army. So we're picking off this CC, and these Banelings now are trying to team up with the Mutas. I wanted to find Marines here and kind of just zone for the Mutas to kill this Orbital, but then this Widow Mine just ruined everything and killed 15 Banelings, so now this Orbital is half dead. So I decided to fly back here and kill the Orbital, and you're gonna see I probably lost a bunch of Mutas this game, but it doesn't really matter. Now we're going up to 45 Mutas, and you might be wondering, but aren't you afraid that you're just gonna die to a push? No, because I'm just gonna counterattack every time and base trade. That's the basic sense of this. At this point, my opponent is down to 39 SCVs. He already lost 59. He lost a lot of CCs just based off this mass Muta style. And I'm telling you right now, if you don't base trade and you try to take direct fights against this army, if he had it all together, that would not work. But like if he doesn't split, you can base trade. If he splits up his army, very often you can just take straight up fights with the Mutas as well, even though you should probably not try it. So unless I see a lot of stuff at home, which we're gonna see now, I always do the same. I sack these bases and re-expand somewhere else while trying to deal counter damage. And now I see he has a bunch of Thors here, and I realize he doesn't have any Thors here, so I go and try and pounce on his army. And even though this is my entire ground force, and this doesn't look very scary, right? Oh man, a little bit of a lower drone count, but 77 is still not that low. So we have very little ground army. His actual marine count in this army is very low, and if these marauders weren't here, these Banelings would also be better, right? So also without the Thors, you can stack all your Mutas and attack multiple units with 44 Mutas at a time. So without Thors, direct fights become so much better. So now he tries to rejoin up with his main army. So we just go in here while the Marines are moving. The Mutas are doing a lot of damage, which is important to note. And now we disengage. We lost the Lingbane, but the Lingbane is super expandable. We can just remake that. And you can see, like, he just doesn't have the space to just attack me. He's trying to split off some units to attack me, but my reinforcements deal with it. And at this point, my opponent is pretty dead. He's again at 30 SCVs. He almost doesn't have it. He only has 2 orbitals left. Yeah, this is a very fun style to play. I also played like this in the first game. The game was a little bit shorter though, so I decided to go with this one. I will include both of those replays in the comments if you want to check them out. And it was tournament games. Even though I streamed, I took it serious. I did not commentate. So I tried my best here with the mass Muta style. And again, like what happens if he just keeps committing? He will just lose the base trade, right? I have bases here at this point. If he at any moment decides to attack, you can roll in Banelings one by one, and you will never stop being maxed basically at the moment, as long as you're still mining, while your Mutas are literally killing everything. So he needs to turn around. Like these Marines are not enough to kill these Mutas, especially without medevac. So now he has two Thors here again. A viewer told me that he lost that we killed 13 Thors this game, so there's that statistic as well. So now at the same time we're going here. We know he has an exposed planetary. So he tries lifting this. This is his last orbital. Now that the last orbital is gone, we're making lurkers to add insult to injury, because he didn't leave the game. I already knew it was over. So now that he doesn't have detection anymore, we're also making lurkers, just kind of as a BM move. At this point, we could also just take a fight, probably. But that would be lame. The safe way to play it with this is always to try to keep your Mutas on the other side of the map. So now he just says F it, and he tries rebuilding here. And this is what happens if the Terran just tries to go with everything. They will just lose everything in their main base against these Mutas, and they will have so much space to go, and you can't just stay clamped up, because then you're just gonna lose against the Banelings. So you see him, he needs to keep pre-splitting to even move forward. If they don't do this, you can just kill them with Banelings, even if you have less supply. Banelings are very supply efficient units. Obviously he can't do anything because he doesn't have a scan, but he would not have won that fight even if he had a scan. So at this point we're super rich. We killed this base. He's down to 1 planetary. And he's gonna give up in 20 seconds from now. I'm not sure what he's gonna do in the next 20 seconds. Alright, GG is called. And just wanted to show this, like going in between 30 and 40 Mutas against Terrans that don't move out. Can be a really nice style, and I think it's a very fun style to play. So I wanted to show you guys that you don't necessarily need to stop at 20 Mutas. You don't necessarily need to transition into Ultras. You can stay on this army. You just need to make sure that you're active with the Mutas. And to have a high economy and always be ready to sacrifice your bases. This is the main idea behind this, that you're outmining your opponent, you're doing damage, and preferably you would force your opponent to attack into you, because that's when you're gonna get all the counter damage done with the Mutas, whereas you're just giving up some space on the map for expanding somewhere else. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you have any other tournament replays that you guys want me to analyze, any Dark replays, Cyril replays, Rainer replays, please let me know in the comments which series I should take a look at next. It usually won't be my own games, but I just thought this was a fun one that I wanted to share with you guys. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys in the next video.